So this was bent over and it stuck. And it got down to there. So had to turn the engine off and coast to a stop so I could figure out what was going on. But when they were working on it, they were laying on this section here and they bent that. So everything else looks like it's okay. Hi everybody, this is David with Tigner Adventures, and we are excited to do a little test trip today. So if you watched our last video, we showed you the issues that we had repaired on the rig, and we have done a few extra things here that I'll kind of point out to get us ready for our upcoming trip. So the first thing I wanted to do was get under here and check the brake reservoir, make sure that it is full. From time to time we've lost a little bit of fluid back off of our tag axle, and I just want to make sure that that's still not a problem. Then the other thing I'm looking at is I got this grease gun, and I got to go through and check all the grease certs on our vehicle. So all the steering area and also the drive line has grease certs that I need to check. And then last but not least is I need to check the rear end. So I pull this little plug out and I make sure that the fluid is level up here and isn't low, to make sure that all the bearings on the back wheels are being lubricated correctly. And at that point we are ready to go for our test trip. So we're going to take off and just do a shakedown trip. That's what is important when you have major changes done. Kind of shake down, check things out, see if things are working the way that you think they are supposed to be. Well, we got out here to the KOFA Wildlife Refuge. We are about an hour north of Yuma. We almost died. Oh, well, maybe not quite as dramatic as that, but the Ninette says it was, because the darn throttle stuck down, and it was kind of going weird. I mean, I was paying attention to everything because this is our maiden run. We're just testing things out. And I thought, this is weird. It is not kicking into overdrive like it normally does as you're going up and down over the little hills and things. It'll sometimes kick into overdrive. It wasn't doing that. And so I pushed down on the gas and it finally kicked in. And I thought, well, that's good. And then it just kept kicking in. It just kept going and going. And it's like, what is going on? And when I pushed it down, and you floored the pedal, well, the actual piece on the, it's not really a carburetor anymore, but it's like a carburetor. Anyway, that's the gas pedal had been bent over, and so it stuck. And so I took my foot off the gas pedal and the pedal didn't come up, and I kept hitting the pedal and I was like, what is going on? And so it was a little bit of excitement there for a minute, and I finally just shut the engine off, and luckily we were at an area where we could just kind of coast and pull off the road. So anyway, we're still alive. It wasn't too much or too difficult for me to diagnose where the issue was, and I bent the little thing back, and basically it was because the guy was putting a little platform there and laying on it when he was working on the engine, and so apparently it slipped and bent that mechanism a little bit. So wouldn't be something that you would notice until you push the gas pedal down all the way. So not something you do in town either. So anyway, so we're out here at the KOFA Wildlife Refuge, and we need to check this out a little bit before we go back tomorrow. We are just sitting out here in the desert tonight and just enjoying the dark. There's a little bit of light out there, but look up, and if we look in the sky, we can see the stars. All right, we have spent the night out at KOFA Wildlife Refuge. We're going to take a look around this morning before we check out the rig and any further. And when I check out the rig, I check the air pressure on the tires and the oil levels and things like that. So we're going to check all that out, and we're going to check out that antifreeze bottle and see if we lost any antifreeze. That's the issue I kept having last summer. So But you can see it's a pretty day today, but it was very, very windy last night. So we're rocking around quite a bit. And it's supposed to get up to big winds again today. So it's like 17 mile an hour with gusts to 35. So anyway, windy area. We are about a half mile off the main road. It actually goes up another mile and quarter. Up here is where they're saying to go. So we're gonna go check it out and see. So this whole area can be camped at. 14-day limit, but it's all dispersed camping. But as far as the pin on the map that RV Life shows for the KOFA Wildlife Refuge, it's up here about another mile. So we're just gonna go check it out, see what the difference is. Sometimes these areas that you drive into, it's much better just to grab the first spot you come to and not be so far back in. But if you want to go sit there for 14 days and not move, then I guess it comes out better to get back as far away from the road as you can. There's very little highway noise though, so it wasn't bad. Last night was pretty dark and no noise at all. So other than the rocking of the motorhome from the wind, it was pretty good. So now this dip that we just went through would have been a major issue for our rig. There's no way it would have made it through that dip. So if you're 36 feet long and you stick out 15 feet behind your back wheel, it might be a problem. There's the sign. The road is well maintained considering how much rain we've had. Look how green the desert is too. Another big dip. So you don't see big rigs up in here this far up. Big rigs as far as motorhomes. Fifth wheels and trailers and things tend to have a lot more clearance. So this is the KOFA National Wildlife Refuge. You can horseback ride, take pictures, camp for 14-day limit, and you can only be on designated roads. So this is interesting that all vehicles must be licensed, registered, or insured for highway use. No off-road vehicle activity allowed, and no target shooting. Drones aren't allowed here, and you cannot go into any of the mines that are around here. Look, Tansy's going on a little bit of a walk.
Oh, it's windy.
Yeah, way windy. Oh, I'll just go under the car. She goes, but I want to go under the car. She doesn't like really being out during the day.
Huh?
She doesn't like being out during the day.
She does, but she's more skittish.
She's kind of skittish. She's afraid of big birds coming down and grabbing her. She likes to hide. So we have this nice little pavilion thing here they've got that talks about the actual refuge. Tansy's gonna check it out. What do you think, Tansy? Huh?
This is a big sandbox.
You can jump up on the table or the chair, whatever that is. Bench. Jump up on the bench. As Ninette says, she's checking out the news for the day. She goes around sniffing everything. She gets pretty excited. Who's been here before, huh? So it looks like we've got a pretty good map of the area. One of the places that's just to the north of us is Palm Canyon, and that's pretty cool area. We've heard it's a pretty nice hike and pretty fun. So hopefully we're going to get to do that next year. We have a lot of different plans for next year. That's how it always is. But we're going to cut back some of our working next year so that we can actually go take more day trips or weekend trips or things like that and go to places. So that's the plan. But you can see that we got a lot going on here. So wow, you're excited there, huh? Is this pretty cool? Is that pretty neat out here? Kind of windy, huh? Yeah. Today, for some reason, is a windy day, but it's really been pretty nice lately, as far as being in Yuma anyway. And the weather in Yuma right now is about the same, so.
Seems like March is over.
Yeah, the wind starts picking up a little bit here. So the KOFA National Wildlife Refuge protects over 665,000 acres of the Sonoran Desert. So that's pretty cool. Originally established in 1939 as the KOFA Game Range. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and Bureau of Land Management jointly manage the range. And in 1976, the service took over and established KOFA National Wildlife Refuge. So there are quite a few mines on the refuge here, and like the sign said, you can't go in the mines. It's illegal, so you gotta be really careful of those. The hot and dry conditions provide an ideal setting for the testing of military equipment and munitions at the Yuma Proving Ground, which is just south of where we're at right now. Look how green the desert is. We have received, man, well over an inch of rain this winter. Way more rain than we've ever had when we've been down here. So, but it has really greened things up. We've seen a lot of flowers as we were driving up too. So we expect when we leave here in 3 weeks that it will be lots of flowers on the travels as we go east. So there are at least 3 different kinds of cacti I see just looking out over this. So kind of interesting, all the variety. There are a number of entrances into the KOFA National Wildlife Refuge here. So this is only one of them, but there are a number of different places, lots of places for dispersed camping. I had these wheels installed so that I wasn't dragging the frame as much, so these little rollers help out a lot, but when you're long, then it's really tough. All right, so we've checked out the area, pretty cool. We're ready to go back. It is windy out here, and it's kind of cool too. So anyway, I'm going to do my pre-check stuff. So the first thing I always do is I always check my tire pressure. So I make sure that all my tires are within the range they're supposed to be. My rig is supposed to be basically about 80 pounds of pressure on each tire, and my car is usually about 32, 33 for the cars. So I check all those to see if I need to update those or not. And then the next thing I do is I check my oil and my antifreeze to make sure that they're at the right levels. And my little part here has to be fixed at some point, but hey, it keeps working. Just get along here. I'm going to prop that up, check the oil. That is perfect. So that's good. And it doesn't have any water in it or anything, so we're not leaking any antifreeze into that or anything. Then my bottle for my antifreeze is way down here in the back. It's really tough to see, so I got to kind of stick my head back in here and see what I can see. All right. And that is exactly where it was yesterday. So that is cool. That means that the issue has been fixed where it was leaking. So don't have that issue anymore. So we'll double check it again when we get back to Yuma. But for now, for that first hour and a half that we drove, things are looking pretty good. One of the things I just love about having a motorhome is that when I pull into places like this that are dispersed and I have no idea what to expect, it's very simple to unhook my car. It's about a 2-minute disconnect, and we can take off and go check out things before we try to drive our rig. So if you looked at some of the places we drove today, that would have been, we wouldn't have been able to get through some of those washes, and we can't back up with our car, so we'd have to disconnect everything and then plus back down the road because there's no place to turn around. So we can disconnect our car, run out there, check it all out and everything. And you guys that have trucks in your trailers, I understand that you love those trucks and that those are great, but you know, it's tough to disconnect some of those to run in to check out something, especially when you're in the forest and things like that. So that's just my little plug for why I love having a motorhome over having a truck and trailer. Well, we are back in Yuma, and it looks like we brought the wind with us because it's pretty windy here also. But hey, we had no incidents at all coming back. Everything ran good. So the only real thing that we have at this point to say about this whole ordeal, I guess, is, you know, we felt in some ways that the service could have been a lot better. And so we definitely are not giving these guys 5 stars. They caused a lot of issues, and you know, one of the issues that we have with mechanics in a lot of shops, you know, and I've ran into this before too, is where they're always trying to upsell you. They're telling you certain things are bad, or they're not, or they're creating some issue to say that you have an issue. It's been documented so many times. So if you have a good, trustworthy mechanic, that is the person you really want to go to when you're going to have any type of work done on your rig if you can't do it yourself. So with that said, that ends this video. Thanks for coming along on our little test trip here. You know, just, it was fun. It was fun getting to see KOFA too. We've never been there before, so hopefully that was something that will help you out a little bit. But we'll definitely be looking into that a little bit more next year also. But we are just that much closer to our summer trip, and at this point we are feeling pretty well prepared for getting done. We just got to get things put away and cleaned up here, and we're on our way. So thanks for coming along on this adventure with us, super adventure. And you know, hopefully we'll see you down the road somewhere, and if not, we'll just see you on our next video. So take care.